Whenever I do a driving iron video, an iron that should be hit off the tee, that potentially could go a long way, could be your driver replacement for 2025, and of course it should potentially offer us an element of forgiveness throughout the bag, one brand name always comes up. And I find that very interesting because not very often is a category so monopolised by a brand that a lot of people often don't think about. If I can find it anywhere in this bag, we are of course talking about the brand new Srixon ZXi-U driving iron. So this utility iron comes in at 20 degrees. There's lots of different options you can get it with. It's jam-packed full of technology, of which we will delve into in today's video. But lots of the technology in here you may have heard of before, but some of it you might not have done, hence the eye forging that this iron does have. You see, I've got a little bit of a dilemma. I've tested some of the Srixon clubs this year and I didn't like them. And that's not like me at all. And now, when I say I didn't like them, that's probably quite a strong term. I might be speaking out of turn there, to be brutally honest, because they performed pretty well. But Srixon have gone down the avenue, technology-wise, totally different to some of the bigger brands like Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway, Mizuno and all the rest. Not that Srixon aren't a big brand in their own right, but before I delve into these irons, let me just hit you one of these, because I have already done the numbers for this iron. I've already done the internal testing, and I must admit, it's certainly a club that if you're in the market for a driving iron in 2025, you're going to want to have a look. You see, when you guys speak, I always listen. I love reading the comments that you guys leave, sometimes more than others. I've been losing a bit of weight, so you're being a bit more polite recently, but Srixon certainly know how to make a driving iron. They definitely know how to make a forgiving driving iron. They know how to make a low spin monster. They know how to make a golf club that potentially could help you if you struggle off the tee and help you keep that golf ball in play, which is inevitable for so many golfers. They've nailed it. Spoiler alert, they've nailed it. And it's not very often I say that a company has totally nailed something, but the head design behind this golf club, the acoustics behind this golf club, everything around it, that felt absolutely unbelievable. The idea that you can see a little bit of that kind of mainframe technology behind the golf club at address really shows that Srixon are concentrating on what you guys want to see. You want to see a little bit of forgiveness, but you also want to know that CG is low enough, is far enough forward, so you can play shots, well, hopefully like this. So you can see the two differences in ball flight there. The first one was a lovely high shot. The spin rate was probably around kind of 3,000-ish, whereas that shot there, we are going to jump in the studio and talk numbers for this club, but that felt better. When I can peel it low, I can send it a little bit lower, so I know that if it's going to be that kind of firm summer we sometimes get here in the UK and of course abroad, you can have it in the bag and play it lots of different ways. Now there's no adjustment on this club, but I don't mind that because you kind of know exactly what you are getting. When it comes to the tech in this club, it's fair to say that Srixon have left no stone unturned. You can see it does feature that eye forging. That's a condensed forging stretching from the high toe area along the top line of the blade and enhances the overall strength, durability and potentially feel of the golf club. The mainframe technology saves additional weight and adds more MOI throughout the enhanced network of milled channels. That's on the back and the side of the iron, and at impact that system amplifies ball speed and adds potential forgiveness. Now when we talk about the Tour VT sole, for me this is an imperative part of a driving iron that so many companies do potentially get wrong. So for the first time ever, Srixon have included that Tour VT sole on all of the utility irons, along with leading edge side chamfer. And I think it's fair to say, looking at the turf interaction we've been having on these shots so far, especially off that nice low tee, we've had fantastic turf interaction for the shots we're trying to play down this fairway with the Srixon ZXi-U driving iron. Now, I hear what you're all saying, James, technology is all good and well. They're basically a bunch of marketing terms that have been thrown at this golf club in order to make it sell. And part of me agrees with you with that. But also, part of me thinks that whoever's behind the R&D of this golf club has been working their absolute socks off in order to give us ball flights like that. Because I guarantee if I hit every golf shot this season like that off the tee, that would be long enough, that would be accurate enough, and that would be good enough for me to never have a up again. That's the only way I can put it. That's fantastic. Okay, so numbers for this Srixon Z, what the called? ZXIU. Okay, so numbers for this brand new Srixon ZXIU 3 utility iron. And I must say, this thing looks like it could be an absolute beast. I'm wanting forgiveness, I'm wanting distance, I'm wanting versatility. So we're not wanting much from Srixon on this regard, but we've got a Mitsubishi chemical shaft in here. Initially, that's a little bit of a towy one to kick us off with. High spin, 4,000. It's not the best strike to start with, and that's pitching at 190, 186, releasing up to 200 yards. The positives we can take about that is look where it finished. It's finished bang smack in the middle of this fairway. And if ever you do play a club like this, it's going to be for safety. It's going to be potentially on a long par 3. But if that's your bad one, then really you're going to be quite happy with it. That felt better. That's a 4,003 spin. So at 20 degrees, let's address the elephant in the room here. 2.5 carry. This isn't really a 3-iron, is it? It's more like probably a 2-iron. Anything 19 to 20 degrees for me is more like a 2-iron. We've got that massive kind of V sole in here. So it's going to be nice for that turf interaction outside. That felt absolutely unbelievable. I've pulled those last two though, and I'm going to be honest, 204, exactly the same carry as the last one. I'm not sure if I'd rather have the first one that carried a little bit less, but bang smack in the middle of the fairway, because the last thing I want to do is pull one into the rough or even, God forbid, out of bounds when you're playing it safe on the tee. That's a real bottomy one as well, but again, I've misstruck it, but it's arrow straight. That's done really well. That's pitching 190. But I must admit, I was testing all of the Srixon clubs today, and I was hitting the 5-iron around this, so I don't know if maybe the 3-iron's just not suiting me regards to shaft length or something like that, but looking down at it, it does look absolutely gorgeous. That's a much better strike, but again, the better strike, I've pulled it. That's a long way. That's 206 carry, releasing up to 220. If I could cage this in and hit that shot straight, so 220 yards down the middle of the fairway, for summer, this is the club. Like, you don't need any other clubs. You would literally just have that. That was a better strike again. What's that one pitching? You can see how the nice normal one's a nice high floaty one. That's 210 carry, again, 220 odd yards. That time in the fairway, but we still have the option, even though it's that nice big forgiving head, to play it down if we want. So we have the option to just kind of chip it. That kind of shot there. Again, I've pulled that, which is a little bit annoying, but you can see just how far that's running. It's at 20 yards of run on it, that one. But I can pick that trajectory if I want to, which is a huge bonus with this. But I must admit, numbers-wise, oh, that's the one. That's the one. I was just about to say I'm underwhelmed. And then I've hit that one. That's 230 yards, 215 carry. I've just eaten my own words before they came out of my mouth. 230 yards. There's something in this. It might take some controlling, but the Srixon ZXIU for me has to be a consideration. And you see, guys, for me, one of the big areas when you are testing a driving iron, it's not just how far does it go off the tee, what the numbers like, what's the ball speed like, it's how can I hit it in a versatile situation. So just what am I going to be able to do with this club from the fairway or even potentially the rough, and that's what we're going to test in this segment of the video. Because as I've said already in this video, a lot of people do comment saying Srixon make the best driving irons possible. Nobody else can come close to them. And you might be right. You might well be right. Because you see, there's lots of different areas for potential with an iron like this. Yes, it's a 2-iron. Yes, it has that air of versatility. I can flight it down. I can play a draw. I can play a fade. But I can also get a little bit of forgiveness with this ZXUI because of the technology that's in it, because it has that lovely wide sole, because I can attack it with a little bit more confidence. And confidence inspiration is huge. And as I look down at the top line, it really does inspire you to hit shots just like that one. That's one of the first swings we've had today, and that's middle of the green using this driving iron. You can see that was a nice high fade. It's not particularly a difficult shot to play with this club. I don't feel like I'm having to force it up into the air. I don't feel like I'm potentially having to be honest, do much with it apart from clean it every shot in these wintry conditions. Can we play it even a little bit higher? It looks like it has a lot more loft on it than 20 degrees. And even that one where I've caught the ground just a little bit, it's got the ball speed, it's got the launch, it's up there towards the right hand side of this green, and I feel like there's certain driving irons in the market where you just don't get that. Obviously the graphite shaft helps. This is a Mitsubishi Chemical UT shaft. It's 80 grams, it's stiff, but it's really working well with the head to do all those things that I want it to do. Now, big high draw. That's quite a hard shot for me to play with a club like this. But not really, because that's all over the flag. Wasn't so much a draw, was more straight at it, but I'll tell you now, they're all very close together when it comes to front to back dispersion. And front to back dispersion for me is everything I want with a club like this, because it's consistency. And I want consistency with a club like this from this distance. And now, as you can probably tell, I'm very impressed with this club, both off the tee and off the fairway. And one of the things I'm really impressed with it is that eye forging feel, because I tested the Srixon ZXI driver and I won't lie to you, I thought it felt hideous. It sounds terrible. It performs pretty well, but it would have to perform over and above all the rest of the 2025 drivers for me to even contemplate putting it in the bag. But this thing feels fantastic, so I can almost give it a little bit of elbow room in performance. Not that you would, because you want to have the best performing clubs for you. But if it feels good, looks good, sounds good, and performs good, that's all the boxes ticked, isn't it? So what more do you want?